Well, it's in the morning. Let's go see one of my whores. AKA my other sister from my other family. I'm gonna see her. Why not? To ask her if she wanna fuck her or chill. And shit. You know what I mean, shit. Like I said, my dad fucked many of chicks. So, yeah. I have heaps of moms, heaps of brothers, heaps of sisters, you know, big family coming. Go up here. Get your ass up there. There we are. Unlock it. See, boss. Yeah, see, boss. See ya. Her blonde. Well, shit. Her blonde for that, yo. Gang, gang, you heard. Move. Move the fuck. Shit. I'll see you when I'm there, I guess. Shit then. Well, here we are. Lock it. Let's go up. Knock on the door. Oh what? Shit, this way. These are just the guest bedrooms down here.
Holy shit.
It's me.
Oh, I'll be right with that.
Cool. Hey, Amanda, sis.
Hey, brother.
Don't know fuck you or...
Here.
Cool. Let's go try something. Sis.
What's up?
Can you go cook me up a pizza?
Sure, I'll be right back.
Good girl.
Put on.
Good girl. Let's watch YouTube.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check it now.
Oh good, see you soon, babe.
The other two
Is it
men
ready?
barreled backward
not
in
yet,
complete
nearly.
shock and adrenaline pumping fear. Not knowing whether to run or to stay put as their eyes focused up at me in terrifying
I'm not
awe.
one.
A look that I was more than familiar with it. In front of us, and I recognized the voice of the man in the black gear. Was wearing, dressed head to toe in black militaristic gear. The night air was cool. There was a slight breeze that blew the cornstalks from side to side. After years of fine print cards, which almost never multiple friend, Dr. John, which I'm sure the agency was more than happy to pin on me. After After the five-headed witch was defeated, the orchestrator, Jenny, Ari, and I all retreated to Jenny's farm, where we have been residing ever since. It was a much-needed change of pace. However, while sleeping inside the empty barn on this particular night, with both Arya and the orchestrator, I picked up a scent, one not familiar in the slightest. I could also hear the sound of a vehicle. It was approaching the farm. There were men talking, whispering as if trying to cloak their presence. Arya picked up their scent as well, her antlers dragging across the barn wall as she raised her snout high, attempting to get a more precise direction as to where it might be coming from. We both turned our heads, making eye contact as we decided on what to do next. Was this the agency? Had they broken their agreement and found us? The orchestrator who was sleeping above us also awoke, disturbed by the potential intruders. Keep quiet, I called to him in a hushed tone, just before walking over to the left wall of the barn and beginning to scale it on all fours. Ron, where are you going? Arya inquires as I make my way up toward the ceiling, already halfway there with my claws embedded in the wood. To see who's out there, I said, turning back and continuing my crawl upwards. Once I had reached the ceiling, I proceeded to gently and quietly lift up a loose board, allowing just enough room for myself to slip out onto the roof of the barn and crawl along it toward the edge. The night air was cool. There was a slight breeze that blew the corn stalks from side to side. It was beyond cathartic to see myself being surrounded by nothing but open land. My night vision allowing me to see all the details of the property around us. True and utter freedom. But there were much greater things to worry about right now. I continued crawling toward the edge of the barn, careful to make sure my claws didn't scrape the wood, as I kept myself low and again, on all fours. As soon as I made it, I scanned the area below. The actual farmhouse where Jenny slept, it seemed, undisturbed, for the time being anyway. A jeep carrying a large trailer had slowly crept up the path to the farmhouse. The headlights were off, but I
I'm
could
gonna go
still see
check
it
it
as clear
now.
as day.
Oh good. Shush, Daddy,
I crawled backward a bit,
Shush, baby, get
cautious
you,
of being
brother.
spotted. So
Here you
instead
go.
of putting myself directly
Thanks,
under line of
with
sight,
8.
I maneuvered my way. I circled my way around the field with.
God damn, you got better cooking.
I know, I have baby.
Yes.
Quickly crawling over to the front end of the house, I spotted the three men approaching the front door from the lawn. I did say almost because his fist actually never made contact with the door. Instead, I proceeded to leap off the roof of the farmhouse down into the middle of the three men, grabbing the one in black gear and yanking his rifle right from his hands before he could fire a shot. I snapped it in half after applying enough pressure with my free claw. I held him up by the throat after switching myself to a bipedal stance, but I wanted answers and I didn't plan on killing him just yet. The other two men barreled backward in complete shock and adrenaline-bumping fear, not knowing whether to run or to stay put as their eyes focused up at me in terrifying awe. A look that I was more than familiar with at this point from humans. Stop, 16A, stop. The man in my grip shouted, attempting to wiggle out of my grasp. But he was going nowhere, not without me willing it. But after a brief observation, the stranger's identity was clear. He was an agent from the agency. The same agency that had controlled my life and the lives of many others for so long. But besides all that as gear, it was different. While yes, it retained their signature black color, the patterns and logos appeared a bit more contrasted than they had had the last time that I had seen them. Perhaps they had acquired new leadership. My name is Braun, I growled at the agent, baring my teeth as I pulled him closer to my face. Hey, big guy, came the older man, slowly mustering the courage to approach me. I turned my attention to him, letting go of the agent as he fell to the ground with a harmless thud. And who are you? I inquired, holding myself steady as I stared him down. My name's Phil. Straightening his posture to appear more confident. It was clear that despite his fear, he wanted to be a presence of authority and safety for the youngest of the group. And you, I say, pointing a fingernail towards the younger man. A groan could be heard from the agent as he got back up to his feet behind me. James, the youthful one replies after a bit of hesitance. Listen, we're not here to hurt you, I promise. I honestly wasn't even sure you truly existed or not. But now that I am, I can assure you that we mean you no harm. And yet you brought weapons. I growled, lunging forward just a bit, causing James and Phil to stumble back. That was his choice.
It's a big
Phil
mistake
says,
bringing
pointed toward
weapons
the agent
too.
behind me as he rose to his
If you
feet.
don't mean any harm,
We warned him
don't
against
bring
it.
weapons.
Ah, Jesus, James exclaims, his eyes widening yet again. I turned to my left to see what it was that alarmed him this time, only to find that both Arya and the orchestrator were standing on either side of me, keeping still as they watched all of this unfold. Granted, I had heard both of them coming beforehand, and Jenny had also come storming out of the house with a hunting rifle in hand, eager to see what all the commotion was about. She appeared fatigued, a groggy tone and baggy eyes and all. Who the heck are these people? She inquires impatiently.
Get you pregnant?
Ma'am,
This time when we
Phil
fuck?
steps forward.
Yes,
Forgive
fucking
me
off
for
you can.
intruding on your property, but the name's Phil.
Cool.
I'm a ranger with Wolf Lake National Park. 20 years experience. This here is my rookie, James. We don't mean you no harm, but we need your help against something that does. What exactly is that supposed to be? Jenny questions, still just as unconvinced as me. She continues to keep her rifle raised. It means that we came here for a reason, a very good one. The agent who I had previously attacked announced, rubbing his head as we all turned our attention to him. It is unwise to intrude on someone's home without warning. The orchestrator chimes in, his long, slimy, and reptilian tongue poking out of his mouth. You locked me up, kept me trapped for years, and starved me like a pig. You're lucky that I haven't picked your bones clean yet. Comes Arya, her sunken eyes fixated on the agent. There's a pause between these six of us. Nobody knew what to say, and the tension was still ever present, of course. That much was true, but eventually the agent speaks up. Oh well, since the older man over here failed to introduce me, he begins before reaching up and removing his black helmet and visor, revealing his face. I recognized him instantly, his face and voice alike. Although I had failed to recall his name, it was clear to me where I had last seen him. He looks right at me, beginning to speak before I quickly cut him off. And the name's Miles Black. I was with Team 6, I began. The unit that hunted Dr. John and I after our escape. The group that arrived on the helicopter while we were hiding in the woods. He frowns, letting his arms hang on either side of his body. It's not like that anymore, he blurts. Right now, we've got bigger fish to fry. You still haven't elaborated on what you mean by that. Jenny announces, becoming more irritated. Cryptids, I presume. Because if so, you have the resources to defeat them on your own. I find it pathetic that you come here to beg for my help after attempting to kill me for months when I refuse to keep being your dog. As I finish my small tirade, James turns and gives a displeased and more or less disgusted look to Miles, as if he had just done something vile in front of his very eyes. It was clear that he was upset at him for something, but it wasn't spoken out loud. He's contributed his fair share of heinous acts too, came James's rebuttal. And I'm sorry for what they have done, especially to you, Bron, and
No
he
bond.
pauses, looking over in Arya's direction in a hesitant manner. Arya, she tells him rather coldly. Arya, he says in a self-corrected manner. I may not understand, and I don't think that I ever will, but I'm sorry. We need your help more than anything. Trust me, I know what happened last time you were near the agency. You lost your best friend, didn't you? I froze, almost unable to answer the question at first. His assertion had come so unexpectedly that I genuinely felt shocked. You will speak his name with nothing but respect, I snarl. Of course. His name was John, right? Dr. John. I nod, saying no words as I lift a claw and point a finger over behind the three men, watching as they slowly turn and lay their eyes upon Dr. John's grave. Even nowadays, I have trouble looking at it without an underlying wave of despair coming over me. He did nothing but good from the moment I met him to the moment that he died, I said rather weakly. I had a friend too, a really good one, just an honest man, and he took his own life. It was more painful than most people could imagine. I understand what it's like to have somebody taken from you like that. Somebody that you truly love and trust, like a brother or a father. I tilt my head downward, maintaining eye contact with James, and for the first time, he finally seemed to be relaxed in my presence. John was what I wish all humans could be, I say, finally breaking the ongoing silence. I turn, looking at Jenny, the orchestrator, and Daria. All of them stare at me intently, waiting for my response. I will not put my friends in danger, I said after returning my attention back to James. We could use their help too, Phil adds. I will not let you go alone, Braun, Arya says before marching forward, standing by my side before leaning down to the three men, her jaw mere inches away from their faces. And if any of you betray us, I'll make sure to eat you alive, starting with your legs, and I won't let Braun stop me. What would we receive in return? The orchestrator grills, crossing his scaly arms. Shelter, peace, freedom, as well as food, and lots of it at that, Miles contests. And being relocated to a remote spot the rest of the world doesn't even know exists. And how do we know this isn't some sort of trap? That you aren't fooling us into yet another one of the agency's schemes? Because if it was, don't you think we would have shown up with a lot more men and guns? Miles retorts. And although he was right, further indicated by the fact that I couldn't smell or hear any other agents, there was still something that felt off. And while I firmly believed that James and Phil could perhaps be trusted, Miles came off as a bit less credible. Perhaps I harbored too much distrust, not that it was unearned by any means. We cannot agree without proof of our reward, and I, for one, will not be spoken to like some naive fool, came the orchestrator, marching up and suddenly grabbing Miles by the throat. That's enough, put him down. I already destroyed his weapon, I demanded, grabbing the orchestrator by the arm. And why would I do that? I want to know if they truly keep their word about what they propose. Seems to me like it's nothing more than a ploy. I reached over with my other claw and attempted to grab the orchestrator, only to have him snatched out of my grasp by Arya, who slammed him harshly up against the trailer that was attached to the Jeep that the man had driven in, using her strength to pin him against the vehicle and causing him to drop Miles. He's able to wiggle himself free in mere seconds, albeit with plenty of struggle of his own, and shove her back off, preparing to lunge at her for a follow-up strike before I quickly dashed at him, shoulder bashing him right into the Jeep's trailer, and causing Phil to erupt in a wave of rage. What the heck? You guys know how much that thing costs. I disregarded him for the moment, maintaining my focus on keeping the orchestrator restrained. Even after everything you have done, I allowed you to live. You will not touch her again, I growled, our faces just inches from each other. You two, I hear Miles bark at Phil and James. Step back. If they start going at it, you don't want to be in the way. And there's nothing that we're going to be able to do to stop it with guns. The orchestrator squints his cold and reptilian eyes at me, an underlying sense of hate boiling just beneath the surface. Something was telling me that he wasn't nearly as grateful about me sparing him as he pretended to be earlier on, and that he still harbored some hidden spite for me. Do you just expect me to go along with your every whim and desire? What happened to the Braun and the Annihilation Realm. The one that said he would slay every guard and monster in there to stop them from harming the one that he cares for most. You know full well that I could. But I'm suddenly cut off by a painfully loud bang that came directly from behind me, causing me to cut my ears and roar out in great agony. The hearing making it all the more terrible to endure. Arya, the orchestrator, as well as Phil and James, also shared their discomfort with the sudden burst of noise. I turned, seeing Jenny standing there with a look of irritation on her face, while holding her rifle vertically and having the barrel pointed up at the sky. "That's enough," she declares. "We all need to calm down. None of this is helping a dang soul." I agree with the lady. Phil nods loud and proud before stepping forward. "We're all acting like a bunch of dang fools. You come out into our land and expect us not to have questions," Arya interrogates. James lets out a frustrated yet nervous sigh. His eyes dart around the group before landing on me, a bit of shock still ever present. "Listen, we need to come together, all of us, despite the hatred. The ways that some of us have wronged one another. We need to forgive and move on. Because if we can't give up on our personal grievances, then there may not be a world to have petty fights with each other on in the first place." He pauses for a few seconds, awaiting reactions from the rest of us before continuing on. "I've seen the things that are coming, and they are not your typical cryptids. Far from the usual boogeyman staring through your window at night. These things are something else entirely, and I've seen it up close. They want this planet and everything in it to suffer. If you can provide proof, then you will have our help," I replied. "But if I get the slightest sense of betrayal taking place, I will tear off your limbs and feast on them." Phil glances at Miles, who takes a few steps to the left and opens the door to the now dented Jeep, reaching in and pulling out a binder of sorts, one that looks similar to the binder that Dr. West used to carry. He turns to face the group, hesitating before opening it up. "What's in here is extremely classified. If you agree to help us, I need you to understand that no one else can know about any of this, or the agency will have all of our heads on a platter." "I'd be more worried about what I would do than them," Arya retorts before giving Miles a brief stare. He looks away, slowly opening up the binder and revealing the contents inside. The first thing that I spotted was a picture of a man whose appearance I had known all too well at this point. A man who had set up the events that led to the death of my best friend, Nubel, the leader of the black-robed people. I recognized everything from his long hair to his muscular frame, his beard in dire need of trimming, and those cold and sinister eyes. "Remember him?" Miles asked rhetorically before pointing at the photograph. Jenny takes a step back, hesitance spread across her face. She knew just as well as I did what he truly was. A horrendous monster. "He's been dead for months now. Why is this relevant?" I asked. "Because from his death, something has been born. And if you come with us, you can learn more." "On the way to where exactly?" Jenny inquired. "Wolf Lake National Park, ma'am," Phil interjects. All of this, every single bit of information, it wasn't anything jarring. Monsters and creatures of the night were things that I had dealt with many times before. But something about this felt strange. A situation that was unlike the many others that I had encountered previously. But after they had shown other images of decimated human bodies and alien-like creatures that were definitely not of this world, I knew that it was something that I could not ignore. Innocent humans were in danger, despite the fact that humanity will never truly accept me or my friends. I couldn't stand by and let innocents die horrible deaths. So I looked between the orchestrator, Arya, and finally Jenny. Jenny and Arya nodded in agreement, while the orchestrator still held his share of skepticism. I understood, but after what they had shown me, I was willing to take a chance if it meant lives were at stake. So I verbalized my final answer. "Fine. as long as your word is kept, you will have our help. The trip to Wolf Lake wasn't nearly as long as I had first anticipated. Phil had announced when we had arrived, and the drive through the pass in the forest was slow. In the distance, there were what looked to be destroyed military vehicles and equipment. Not to mention there was a heavy smell of blood that was more than potent in the air. Chaos had surely taken place here in Wolf Lake, and it didn't look like the supposed good guys were on the winning side, as displayed by the several bodies of soldiers along the inner tree line. That wasn't even bringing up the giant cobwebs and cocoons, some of which were in the shape of human bodies. The corpses that were visible were far more than mangled. Some had just been utterly ripped to shreds. This wasn't just your average cryptid violence. It was more purposeful and more sinister than that. I turned my focus back into following the Jeep and trailer which had navigated its way through a dirt path into the woods. I looked forward, spotting what looked to be the silhouettes of another vehicle in a clearing, along with a couple of human-shaped outlines. It was more agency personnel. Although I couldn't make out the details of their actual dialogue, I knew that they were discussing something more than likely related to the current situation. All of us focused forward except for the orchestrator, who seemed to be a bit out of it. I didn't necessarily blame him, as he was still getting used to things here on Earth and was already having an event like this to deal with. Almost there, James yelled at me while I dashed through the trees alongside the convoy. But once we finally did make it, the truck came to a rough stop, bumping and thrashing along the dirt path. I stopped at the tree closest to the edge of the clearing, peering down at the two agents who stood beside a Jeep of their own. They both looked up at me with hesitation, but not quite fear. I kept pace all the way up until they made the stop. The two agents introduced themselves as Nick and Richard. Richard specifically looked a bit familiar to me, but if I didn't know him, it had been years since I had last interacted with him. More than likely before I left the agency. There was a bit of dialogue amongst the group, mostly frantic, particularly between Miles and Nick. Arya didn't seem quite as tense as before despite it, but the orchestrator mainly kept to himself, looking off elsewhere. He was unusually quiet. Come on this way, we don't got a whole lot of time. Miles waved, interrupting the message words that were being exchanged amongst
I just
everyone.
turned 10 years old.
Miles, Nick, and Richard led the rest of us down into what appeared to be the entrance to a sort of underground bunker. I had seen something roughly similar back at the agency, except that this wasn't quite as cold feeling. Alright, I know this is gonna sound a bit pushy, but I gotta say it. Miles began. But those spider creatures are still out there roaming, and the last thing we need is them destroying any equipment or things that we need for this extremely important briefing. So we need one or two of you to stand guard out here with Richard. Yeah, probably a good idea. En route to the agency base camp, we encountered a lot of fresh bodies, and we had received a warning on the radio that it was too risky to travel alone with no weapons. So we came back here and waited for backup, and you didn't disappoint. Richard informed us, an awkward jest to his remark, as he looked around at the variety of creatures present. Before I could speak up, Jenny adjusted her grip on her hunting rifle and announced to us that anything stupid enough to try and break in down here will make itself a good target practice for her. I'll watch as well. I don't see a more fitting option for myself, the orchestrator added, wording his admission to volunteer a bit oddly. Good. Glad you know how to step up. Phil nods. Miles and Nick lead both Ari and me inside, the wall in front of us lined with all sorts of audio and video equipment and a large monitor. It was similar to stuff that I had seen back at the agency. Several chairs were lined out along the floor, but they were much too weak to support either of our weight, so we both opted to sit on the floor. I caught Nick looking at me, a cross between fear and curiosity, but quickly broke eye contact once I had returned to stare. He gathered some papers off a table and then walked went to stand next to Miles off to the left side of the monitor. When the screen came to life, it displayed an image of a man that I had not recognized or ever seen before. He appeared devious, and there was a sinister energy radiating off just the picture alone, like he had done something terrible and taking great pleasure in it too. The man is Edward Dean Keller, and he is one of the most despicable men to walk this planet, Nick announces, a subtle sorrow to his tone. They proceed to go on about Mr. Keller and his crimes and the children that he murdered and did horrible things to and even ate. The panic that he spread around Wolflake and all the innocents who fell victim to his cruelty and malice. All the torment he had caused both in life and in death. Just listening to it made me angrier than I had ever been before. Dr. West, Ted Bowser, and even Jubal. At least their sick, twisted, and horrific actions had some sort of end goal. Some purpose that they believed in with their delusional minds. But this was evil for the sake of a sickening gratification. They told us about the ritual about giant spiders with humanoid heads running around and killing people, which were responsible for the destruction that we saw on the way here. All the time that I had spent with the agency, and I was never once told about any of this. I was never deployed out to kill Edward Keller. I spent decades slaying Wendigos, skinwalkers, and all sorts of various monsters. And yet I was never informed of the biggest monster of them all. The one who would truly wreak havoc on so many lives. They furthered the briefing telling us what the cult was planning to do with Jubal's body, as it had been taken after he was killed by John. James put his hand up sheepishly, and the room turned to focus on him. I saw what they did with his body. I had a dream or a vision. I don't know anymore, but they buried Jubal's body in the ground, conducted some sort of ancient ritual, and while a spider emerged from the grave, it did something to Alex Jessup, cocooned him in the webbing, crawled into his mouth and planted a seed. James revealed. The trauma of what he had experienced was palpable, judging by his vacant expression. The spider things, whatever they are, they hatched from his body. Who is Alex Jessup? I asked. Keller's last victim. The only one who lived and the one who had exposed his crimes to the world and sent him on the run, and into the clutches of Jubal and his people. Miles interjected. They used him as a blood sacrifice, so the black-robed people are still active and plan to raise others too, to assist in the rebirth of Keller into his final form. Once again, James, with his vacant expression, raised his hand sheepishly, shaking his head in disagreement. Not entirely true. When the first spiders were born, they massacred the entire cult, bar one guy. I think the only reason that he was spared is that they needed him. Needed him for what? Arya his. The others, I think they're going to act as a shield while Keller completes his final transformation, James speculated. There is an air of assured confidence to his tone. There are others, I asked with a resentful undertone, imagining more innocents suffering at the hands of underworld abominations. Miles nodded with acceptance. I think it's important that you have all the information, he said, pulling out that binder once again. As he lay on the table, opening up to a particular section, I heard a subtle chime and noticed that Nick was looking at his tablet with a significant concern. Miles led the binder across to me.
Who is it? Let's go to up here. For me, sis, I'm Andy. Come on, bring your eyes up here. Oh, shit.
Let's pray.
Introducing the Flayer, the Dentist, the Chameleon, and the Whistler. Four other entities that were created by the rebel group we know as the Black-Robed People. Our information says that they sacrificed high-ranking members of the cult of Kettle Moraine, the group from which the Black-Robed People were excommunicated from, for being too extreme. The weight of his words hung heavy in the air. They've haunted and terrorized a handful of national parks for years, and now they have the ability to call upon them to assist their cause. I looked down at photos and case files of skinned hunters and missing campers and children and so on. All those innocents torn down by more evil. I felt the anger in me building to the surface. Actually, Miles, maybe you should take a look at this. Nick suggested with unease, sliding the tablet into the middle of the room. Everybody leaned over to observe the images on screen, as Nick slid his finger over the screen, presenting a slideshow of various images taken from satellite. The images were a mix of towns scorched and in ruin, flayed humans hanging from trees and lampposts, broken bodies with jaws torn apart, surrounded by bloody teeth haphazardly scattered around, freshly picked skeletons of humans and tree branches skewering various human body parts. The final image was a radiation scan of the Rocky Mountains. A large cluster was evident in what seemed to be a clearing, with the smaller spots of radiation approaching the mass. There were also 4 large blobs of radiation positioned in front of the mass. According to this message, the others have already been summoned by the remaining priest, and they have made their way to the ritual site, leaving a path of destruction in their wake. There's a message from HQ too, Nick added, showing Miles the instructions on the tablet. Okay, the new director of operations has a base camp set up in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, a few miles out from the ritual site. We're going to be heading there once we have everything together. Miles announces, if we don't destroy those things before Keller's able to complete his final transformation, then according to our research, he'll be unstoppable. No weapon or force can stop him and his army. We need to take down the others and destroy the spider's nest while they are still vulnerable. Nick informs us, stepping up to present some extra information on the planned ritual, just before I interrupt him with a growl, clenching my left claw and asking, how many? Huh? Nick responds, confused at first. How many children did he take from this world? There was a pause as he looked at the floor, letting out a sigh before returning my gaze and telling me what I needed to hear. Oh, when he was alive. Well, it's confirmed to be a little under 20, he pronounces. And he will pay for every single one. I snarl, getting up off the floor and standing to my feet, my head just below the ceiling. We finished the briefing by getting informed about the deaths at other national parks, all the coverage that the rampant spiders are getting, the ritual and everything that it failed. I was still more focused on Keller specifically and all his victims, despite my lack of connection with them. But nonetheless, we all gathered weapons and supplies as we were ready to travel to the Rocky Mountains and meet up with other agency personnel that they previously mentioned at base camp. Again, I was still uneasy about interacting with them, but there was a far larger problem at hand to worry about. I had left the bunker and James had mentioned to needing to get some stuff from his cabin before we left, and I insisted that he did not make the short journey to it alone. So I followed him from up above in the trees. There wasn't much to look out for. The forest truly felt lifeless. Not that there was much left after everything that had taken place. I had waited outside for James while he entered the cabin and did what he had deemed necessary. But soon it felt as if he had been in there for too long. I heard nothing but breathing, so I took it upon myself to head inside and to see what had been holding him up. I simply climbed down from the tree outside and walked up to the front steps, before going through the front door, crouching down as I did so. I discovered that James sat down in a chair in what looked to be the kitchen. Not that I had ever seen very many. In one hand, he held a rectangular glass full of a light brown beverage, and in the other he held a picture, which displayed a man that I had not seen previously. Just from the expression or lack thereof on his face, I could tell that he was a bit distressed or saddened, like something had come over him as he was gathering his
What's your double
things.
D's?
Oh, no,
If
that's
that's
fake.
what he even came here for in
Yep,
the first
tell them
place.
what age did you
I
get
didn't
it.
know him
That
all
was
well,
fake.
but something told me that he was more trustworthy than the rest.
At
He had
age
been angry at those in
8,
charge, and felt as if
I
they had failed
decided,
him.
you
An
know,
experience that I was all
not
too
I
familiar
decided,
with.
my mom made me get
I approached
a
him,
boob
looking
job.
down as he continued
No,
staring at
I
the picture, not even acknowledging my presence.
Goddamn why?
So I initiated the dialogue. Was he a friend? I asked, letting my claws hang at my sides. There was a silence.